Okay, the last bit of dividing decimals is where we are dividing a decimal number by another decimal number. So both, let me quickly tell you the names. The number that you are dividing from, this is called our dividend, and the number that you're dividing by is called a divisor. Okay, so both of them are decimal numbers. For this one, there are certain steps that we need to follow. Okay, the first thing is that first step is to make sure that, so step number one, okay, we change our divisor to a whole number. And the way we do that is by multiplying by powers of 10. So either 10, 100, or 1,000, whatever is needed. So that's the first thing. So step one is to change that. If you do that, you need to do the same. Okay, so the same needs to happen to our dividend. And same, which means that if you multiply the divisor by 10, you have to multiply the dividend by 10 as well. We can't let them be alone, so we have to do the same deal. Now the reason, mathematically, the reason why we do the same thing is because we need to keep the balance. So this is something that I'm just going to leave in the middle, okay, something that we need to follow. So just need to remember that those things need to be done first before we start the division. So let's do the first example. Let's have a look. Our divisor is 0.2. Now, what we need to do to the 0.2, if I multiply the 0.2 by 10, what that'll do is it'll move the decimal point one place to the right and make it 2. So 0.2 times 10 will give me 2. So that will give me a whole number. Therefore, I have to do the same thing to our dividend, which is 5.14 times by a 10 as well. I don't have a little space there, so I'll use that space. Just rewrite this times by 10. So what that becomes now is, if this moves one place to the right, one place to the right, both of them, this becomes 51.4 divided by 2. So once you do that, you just go back to your division, 51.4 divided by 2. Oh, what am I writing? Let's rewrite that. .4 divided by 2, that's better. Okay, 2 into 5 goes twice. 2 times 2 is 4 with a remainder of 1. The 1 goes right next to the 1, makes it 11. 2 into 11 goes 5 times. 5 times 2 is 10. You have another remainder 1. Goes right next to the 4 to make it 14. But before that, we have our decimal point to line up with, which goes right up there. And then 2 into 14 goes 7 times with no remainder. So therefore, the answer to this becomes 25.7. You can always check using a calculator. So on your calculator, you can always check. Just say on calculator, you can check if you've got it correct or not by going back to our original question, which is 5.14 divided by 0.2. And check if you get 25.7. And let's do that. If I check that, 5.14 divided by 0.2 gives me 25.7. So you know that you've done that correctly. All right, let's have a look at another example. It's the same deal. Remember, the process doesn't change. Now, if I have a look at my divisor for question B, then it's 0.04. So to get to 4, this decimal point needs to get there. So it skips 1 and 2 places to the right. which means that this 0.04 needs to be multiplied by, what number has got 2 zeros? 100, or what power of 10, to be more specific, 100. So therefore we do multiply that by 100. Same thing needs to be done to 15.48. You multiply that by 100, and then we divide the two, which gives me, so if I shift, tidy that up, if I shift my decimal point 2 places, 1, 2, and then 1, 2, what I get is 1,548 divided by 4. Then I do my division, 1,548 divided by 4. 4 into 1 cannot be done, cannot be divided because 4 is greater, so we bring the second digit in, make it 15. 3 times 4 is 12, with a remainder of 3. It goes right next to the 4, makes it 34. Okay, so then 4 into 34, how many times? 9 times 4 becomes 36, so we have to go 1 down, so therefore that's 8. 8 times 4 is 32. Take that away from 34, gives me a remainder of 2 again, so 2 goes right next to the 8, makes that 28. Can 4 go into 28? Yes. 7 times exactly, with no remainder. So therefore our answer to 15.48 divided by 0.04 is 387. And let's look at the last example. Okay, so let's look at, always start off with the divisor, because that gives us an indication on what we need to multiply by, so that both our dividend and divisor are in the right format to divide. Okay, so if I look at the divisor, 0.006, 0.006, I need to move this decimal point 1, 2, 3 places to the right. And the number that allows me to do that is 10 to the power of 3. Now remember, 10 to the power of 3 is just equal to 1,000, because 3 and 3 zeros match. All right, so we need to do the same thing to 2.382 times 10 to the power of 3. And then we just bring it down. So if you notice, I have started from, when we're doing these questions, I've started from right to left in this step. And the reason to do that is because once we decide what we need to multiply our divisor by, that helps us then to form or decide on the rest of the question. Okay? Right, let's now carry on. So, times 10 to the power of 3 means this decimal point moves 1, 2, and 3 places to the right, which gives me 2,382 divided by 6. What we do, we just do our division. 2,382 divided by 6. 6 into 2 cannot go. 6 into 23. 4 times 6 becomes 24, which is 1 more than 23. So I have to go 1 less than 4, which is 3. Okay, so 3 times 6 is 18, with the remainder of 5 takes. And that goes right next to the 8 to make it 58. How many times does 6 go into 58? 9 times, because 9 times 6 is 54, with a remainder of 4, which goes right next to the 2 to make it 42. 6 into 42, 7 times, with no remainder. So therefore, our answer to 2.382 divided by 0.006 is 397.